Good freaking news. AsRock sent me back the X570 Aqua board that I had previously bricked when it shut off in the middle of a BIOS update. That was completely my fault. You can watch that video if you missed it. But they sent it back and apparently it's working according to them. I don't know if they actually sent me the same board, like my same original board, or if they just replaced it. I think it's the same board, but when I sent it to them, this handle was completely broken and it wasn't fixable. Like this part was like snapped in two. So this is, and this handle's fine. So did they just give me a new box with the same board? I don't know. Let's find out. Before that, this video is brought to you by cdkeyoffers.com, a cool website I found for all of your game keys and software key needs. You can find keys for really cheap and they're reliable. And I just so happen to really need a Windows 10 Pro key for a system that I just built. Let me punch in my payment information really quick. Buy now. All right, here's my key. And the system's already activated, but we can just change the product key to the one we just bought. And if all goes smoothly, activate. It works, yay, so super legit. Go ahead and follow the link in the description below, guys, and be sure to use the code BW20 for 20% off any of the keys or orders that you make at cdkeyoffers.com. I'm cool either way, as long as it's working. Oh, so this is, okay, it might be the same board then, because it still has the Bitwit branding there on the little documentation envelope. And yes, this is the same board. Bitwit, done, sweet. So we got the same kind of exclusive Bitwit branded board back as well. That's the best of both worlds. So first things first though, while I do trust AsRock, I'm still gonna test this out myself with a quick test boot. So let's go ahead and fire that up. Also, I lost my 5950X. Yeah, I know. This is just one of those builds where everything goes wrong, mainly because of me. But I do have a 5900X on hand right now. Hopefully by the time we actually have to lock this in and start doing tubing and stuff, I will find the 5950X. I mean, it's gotta be here somewhere, so we'll figure it out, we'll find it. But for now, test boot. Okay, we're all ready for the test boot now. We've got the motherboard here, powered up with a power supply, little tester GPU, and we're ready to rock. Ready to AsRock, haha. Okay, all right, let's just see if this works. Please, 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 please work, please. Okay, spinning up. Definitely have power. Okay, we got RGB on the RAM. Just waiting for a video signal here. Now, if we don't get a video signal, we're not necessarily out of luck because I don't know which BIOS version AsRock put on this board when they sent it back. So if it's not updated with the latest AJASA code or AGASA code or whatever, then the 5000 series Ryzen chip in there is not gonna post, which it's kind of looking that way right now. So try a different CPU. Let's try a 3000 series. No, let's first make sure that the monitor is plugged in to the freaking wall. Oh my God. Okay, no signal, that's fine, that's fine. Let's reboot. Sometimes you gotta reboot it. Woo! There it is! High five, AsRock. Y'all did me a solid. They saved the board, they updated to the latest BIOS. We are smooth sailing now. We're just good to go. Now it's just green lights all the way. Boom, boom, boom. Let's get it done. All right, next order of business is, what are we doing next? Okay, so, quick update on the pump. So I contacted Optimus and I reached out to Thermaltake and they were like, yeah, it kind of sucks that the Thermaltake plate, which is right here, the pump plate, the mounting holes in the pump plate do not line up with the mounting holes in the Optimus pump res that we have. That's just oh so beautiful, once again. So I'm gonna have to mod this shite. I'm gonna have to actually drill some holes. I'm gonna have to drill my own holes here. I'm not sure if my drill can handle it. It's a pretty thick piece of metal, actually. You can see I already started trying to drill a hole here, but the battery ran out of juice halfway, so it's charging right now. Once it's fully charged, we'll try again to make sure that my drill's actually capable of drilling through this. If not, I'm gonna have to go to the store and buy a new drill. Hopefully I don't have to do that though. Either way, we'll get some holes drilled in here. That way we can mount that guy. And for now, we can actually start mounting the motherboard, or assembling the motherboard. I didn't even install thermal paste on here, so there's no thermal paste on it. I gotta do that. Gotta install the M.2 SSDs, the rest of the RAM. Then we'll fit that whole motherboard assembly into the case and we'll take it from there. Oh, by the way, I remembered where my 5950X is. Obviously, it's on the X570 test bed that I was using tail end of last year for all of my testing, for all those GPUs that came out that didn't really come out. I completely forgot. It's been so long since I've been working in this office or in this studio that I completely forgot that the chip was here all along. Thank God. Yeah, it's kind of messy right now, but there she is. 5950X, folks. Take my word for it. That's better. Ain't she purty? Oh, yeah. All right, let's go. Today's video is brought to you by the Corsair 5000X RGB. Experience a premium mid-tower case surrounded by 4 tempered glass side panels for a crystal clear aesthetic. Enjoy ultimate flexibility with support for multiple 360mm radiators, 3 included SP RGB Elite fans, and an iCUE lighting node core for full customization within the iCUE software. To learn more about the Corsair 5000X RGB, click on the link in the description below. All right, so we've made some pretty good progress here. You can see I've already got my fittings in. I figured out the tube runs that we're gonna go with tentatively. If something's not working out or if I don't like the way a certain bend looks or a certain run looks, then I will change it. But for now, I think we've got it sorted. So once again, these are Barrow fittings. Barrow. And I believe these are the same OEM that BitsPower uses. In fact, I have some BitsPower fittings here. So all the fittings with a dark green O-ring are BitsPower, and all the fittings with a light green O-ring are Barrow, whatever. You can see side by side, they look pretty much identical apart from the O-ring. So good quality fittings. They seem really sturdy, and hopefully they don't leak on me. But let's go ahead and break down the runs here. So starting from the outlet of our pump res, which you can see I mounted beautifully onto the thermal take plate. I just had to measure and drill 4 holes and we were good to go there. So we're gonna come out here. You can see I've got a couple right angle fittings here. This tube is gonna go straight up and then to the left behind or underneath the cable. So these cables are actually from Ensource. Shout out to Joey from ensource.net for making these custom sleeve cables. They turned out beautifully. So we're gonna go behind the natural curve of these 2 PCIe cables, straight into the GPU from behind, woohoo! And then we're gonna come out from the front here. And this is probably gonna be the funkiest run in the build. It's not even that bad. It's just gonna go out like this a little bit, and then instead of going straight up, it's gonna go diagonally back and then in to where the CPU's at, the CPU inlet. So it'll look kind of interesting. It'll be the only diagonal kind of run in the build, but I think because it's going, you know, deep into the case, into the build, and not slanted, it's not gonna be very obvious unless you're looking at it from the side, from one of the angles. And even then, I think it'll still look pretty cool. So it'll kind of be like this weird diagonal C shape into the monoblock, and then we're gonna come out the same direction. So instead of just doing a shortcut and just going straight up and over to the radiator, I kind of wanted to do a little funky thing here too, where we go all the way out, all the way up, and then back. So it's gonna do sort of a U-turn, I think, just to fill up this empty space. Obviously, like, we'll have cables plugged in here that'll look really nice, but as far as tubing goes, there's gonna be a lot of tubing going on over here. So I kind of wanted to fill out this corner. I like making it even and stuff. So we're gonna go out here, and then also just being a bit more creative with the runs. Actually, it's gonna go up a little higher. It's gonna go over, up, and then boom, right into the radiator. It's gonna come out, straight down, back into the pump res. And I think this will look pretty cool because once these tubes are in here, they'll sort of frame the reservoir. You'll have tubes on either side of the res, and I think that'll look pretty cool. Especially because it's gonna be more or less symmetrical. Now you'll notice that this one doesn't have an actual hardline fitting on it yet. That's because I am missing one offset fitting. So if I take this off here, to get the measurement just right, so that this lines up with the fitting above, I needed to put this offset fitting that I think offsets it by 6mm or something like that, but I only have one of them. I only have one free one, so I need to buy another one so I can complete it and it'll be symmetrical, and that'll also line up. That'll help line it up with this fitting right here. So those are my runs. That's where we're at right now. And I think at this point, all I have to do is plug in stuff. I got to plug in some cables, right? Especially like front panel connectors and stuff down there. That's going to be totally impossible to get to once all the tubes are in. So I got to do some wiring, and then we can move on to tube bending and fill up the loop, and we're good to go. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to fill the loop, obviously, until we get that second offset fitting. It's really annoying. This happens all the time with custom loop builds. One stupid fitting will be what prevents you from finishing off the build. Happens all the time, but at least we'll get some tubes in here and kind of get a better idea of what this finished product is gonna look like when all is said and done. Let's get it. Okay, bit of an update here. We did not get very far from the last clip, but I learned a lot. So here's what's going on. Here's what we've done so far. As you can see, we've got 2 runs complete for the most part. Ignore this for now. We'll circle back to this ordeal. So we've got the run coming from the outlet of the pump res going to the GPU. That came out pretty clean. It's nice and straight from pretty much any angle, as is the tube coming from the radiator down back to the pump res. And you can see how symmetrical it is. It almost kind of looks like a little chair, like a little throne. And it's sort of framing the pump res like I said it would, just perfectly. So it actually turned out kind of like how I imagined. And that run is also very straight, looking pretty clean. But that's where things get tricky, because when I started to do this run, which is gonna be the longest run in the build, you can see that if I go from here, I can just kind of rest it on there. So my plan was to, again, bend it once here and then bend it back in, U-turn into this fitting, but this tube is not long enough, and this is as long as it gets. This is as long, that's what she said. This is as long as these tubes get, the ones that I have on hand that are 16 millimeter. I believe are these from EK? Yeah, these are EK. So I don't have a tube long enough to do this run, unless I just cheated it and went up like that, then I could just go bloop, but I don't wanna do that. I wanna get fancy with it. I wanna do a little U-turn. So I'm gonna have to order more tubing that is long enough to make this run happen. And the other thing I need to order is another silicone tube or another silicone insert, because the one I have here I think is 14 millimeters in diameter, and these tubes are 12 millimeter inner diameter. So what that means is I'm having a really hard time getting this silicone insert into these tubes so I can bend them properly without them, you know, folding or losing their shape. I barely got through these two. It took me like, literally no joke, like 25 minutes just to get the silicone insert in far enough so that I could do these bends, or at least just this bend, because this is just a straight run. So there's no way in hell I'm spending another hour plus to get this crammed into a space that is just not small enough for. So I gotta order longer tubing and a more narrow silicone insert, as well as more right angle fittings. Because this arrangement is eating up a bunch of right angle fittings, I actually had to pull one from here, which means I don't have this one anymore. So I need to get another right angle fitting, at least one more. I think I just need one more, and then I can do that weird C-shaped diagonal run that I was talking about. And that should be good. So I need to get those three things, and we should be able to complete this build in the next video. But I'm really capped on what I can do tonight, so I'm gonna end it here, guys. Let me know what you think of the progress so far. I'm really happy that we actually made some serious progress, though, and that we're on track to finishing it. It's just gonna take one more video. We're almost there. Can see the finish line. Guys, let me know what you think. If you liked the video, toss a like on it. Before you go, get subscribed for more tech content on the way, and feel free to check out my second YouTube channel, Workhorse, that just launched last week. If you happen to miss that, there's some fun vlogs and other stuff on there, I think by now. Yeah, by now there should be. All right, guys, have a good one. I will see you in the next video.